West Ham Women's Show. I'm Ali. This is Reese. Please forgive me how I sound. The change in temperature has meant that I now have the nasal, as you can hear, the joyful cold, but that's not going to stop us. So we're going to give you a rundown of what happened this weekend, what's going to be happening this coming weekend, and some interesting things that are going on in the world of FA WSL. So, Reese, let's talk. First thoughts on our game against Arsenal this Sunday.
Well, this time last week, I had the hump over the Tottenham defeat, but a week later, I'm much happier. I feel like we was much more adjustable to a system that Matt Beard's brought in through pre-season. And I said this on Twitter the other day. I really like this team when we go direct.
Yeah.
I think Martha Thomas really suits that system. But as a collective unit, I just feel like we was much stronger. And for me, we was unlucky not to get a point off Arsenal, if not 3. And to say that the first game going against the champions, that shows you how good our performance really was.
Yeah, it's funny because we lost by the same score margin, but the Tottenham game felt like we chucked the victory away, whereas the Arsenal one, it feels like we rattled them and we were so close to getting something from them. I mean, there was a point where there was an open goal, and I'm like, really, how much more do you need for it to try and score there? But it definitely, I was very, very happy with our performance on Sunday. It was clinical. Even the first half, even though we let 2 goals in, it still felt that first goal was a Beth Mead special. No one was stopping that one. And then the second goal was just unfortunate. So it does feel like we're playing far better than I've seen us play in a very long time. So I'm excited to see what we're going to do. But yeah, talking about the Beth Mead goal, that was something else. Do you think if we changed goalkeepers that Anna could have maybe stopped that? Or do you think that was
Look, Brosnan's my new favourite player, so I was going to say no.
Yeah. No, we are going to talk a bit more about Courtney because Reese does quite like Courtney, and she's soon becoming his fast favourite. So anybody who's a regular at Rush Green may be seeing Reese walking around with a goalkeeper shirt anytime soon.
It's already on order.
So what would you say was the big positives from Arsenal, and what do you think that we need to learn from going ahead, not just next week's game, but for the season as a whole?
So the one positive I'd mainly take out of the game is I think we learned a lot about West Ham women's team going ahead into the Birmingham game, which I said to you last week, and you agreed with me, Ali. That's what this game was really for us, to seeing what the squad was like. It was like a free ticket of a game for Matt to try things, because we didn't expect anything against Arsenal. But what I really like about the squad is, I think Martha Thomas up top, that's another positive to take, because I think she's two-dimensional, because she can play well of the passing game. She links up with players well. She brings players together well as well, positionally. But she can also win a header and counter-attack that way. And I think that's very important to have up front. Another positive is, well, for me especially, Courtney Brosnan. I think, for me, I know it's really early to say this in the season, but I think if she has 3 or 4 more performances like that, I think then she secures herself as number 1.
Okay.
Because I think she was unbelievable, to be honest. I think that save in the second half, that was such a great quick reaction save from that header. And what's interesting for me is, as a shorter keeper, she has a very good spring as well. Which is with some keepers in the WSL, you don't see that if they're shorter. So that's what makes me so positive about Courtney Brosnan being in goal, is she's trustable, and she uses and commands her box well. Because I think every through ball that Arsenal put through and set from one, she caught, and the other one went in.
Yeah, exactly. We actually stood behind the goal, so we actually saw the differences in the two keepers. Arsenal's keeper was very quiet, very didn't really command her back line very much. Courtney didn't shut up. Courtney was very
I was about to say that in the first half.
she didn't shut up. So like, which was good because she got Gilly in places that Gilly needed to be. She brought over, the different players to because I saw that our number 11 was trying to get down somewhere. She was like, nope, get back to where I need you to be. She was very vocal, which is definitely needed. And also going forward, like you said, Martha is a revelation. She is fire. She scored against Tottenham and she scored again against Arsenal. And it's going to be interesting to see how she is going to develop further as a striker. An interesting development for Arsenal was having Kate Longhurst on the wing because having stood with her dad that game, he made it very clear that no, she's not a winger, and he wasn't quite sure what she was doing there. But I feel like she played very well. I think she managed to snub at certain threats. She was fast. She was linked up with Leon on the other side quite well. So it was an interesting position for Kate, and it'll be quite interesting to see if Matt continues that experiment as we get players back that may be more suited to the wing, such as Leanne, for example.
I think Longhurst, like you said, did do really well, but I think the reason Matt played that was maybe to kind of ruffle the Arsenal defence up in the first half, because Kate's more of an aggressive midfielder. She likes a strong tackle, so I think that's what that was. And what I liked about Kate on the wing was she actually, as a central midfielder, she had the natural talent as a midfielder to switch the ball over to the other wing, and that's if you look at most of our counter attacks in the first half, it actually came from a Kate Longhurst switch to the wing and then a cross or a pass into Martha Thomas, and then they linked up that way, which I think worked well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. For anybody who doesn't know Kate, it's a running joke at West Ham that there isn't a goalkeeper or defenders whose bones she hasn't broken in the league. All of her dad's stories are about, well, there was this one time when she broke this goalkeeper's jaw, and then Tony didn't get on when Casey first came to Liverpool because Kate broke her ankle in training. So to say Kate is an aggressive midfielder is a bit of an understatement.
Oh, I was trying to be nice.
So, do you see the room for improvement in the Arsenal game? Do you see what there is we need to?
Yeah, I was about to come on to this. I think there was 20 minutes in the first half, towards the end of the first half, where we went. I remember you saying this last week, Ali, that when we used to play it from the back, that's how we got caught out against Arsenal. And for 20 minutes in the first half, we started to do that. And funnily enough, in that 20-minute spell, I think we conceded 2 goals. So that's the only negative for me. I don't like us playing out the back.
No.
But apart from that, I think we was excellent.
No, absolutely. Like I said, it's one of the best performances I've seen us give. I would say to people, if you look at last season, we played Arsenal 3 times. We played them in the Conti Cup, we played them in the league twice, and we conceded 4 goals against them in each game. So we conceded 12 goals over those 3 matches. To come away with a 2-1 loss against the reigning champions, I think is an absolutely positive thing, because we defended well, we bucked our ideas up, and we got a cracker of a goal against them. And it gives me confidence when we go and play the Man Cities, the Chelseas, that we can actually not lose, but also take points off of them as well. I'm looking forward to beating Man City. I've got a lot of Man City friends. I'm looking forward to taking some points off of Man City. Well, so
that would be brilliant. The double over Man City, and next season Nick Ellum.
Considering how many England players and stuff that they've got, it would be quite nice to take a few points off of them.
But it is a tough ask.
Well, if we do it now while Ellen White's injured, it'd be fine. So, looking forward, we've got Birmingham this weekend. So, how are we thinking we're going to do against Birmingham? What would you think we should change?
See, now, Birmingham's a different proposition to Arsenal. That's a game we're looking in and saying we should win. They've lost to Everton. However, they lost to Everton last week. However, sometimes that loss against Everton will spur them Birmingham players on to reach that extra 10%. Because for me, if I was a Birmingham fan and we lost to Everton going into this game, I'd be looking to win it as well.
Absolutely.
So I think another thing from last season that I'm taking in ahead to this game as well is we always looked okay away from home. It was our home form in the end that let us down.
Yep.
So if we can bring this performance that we had against Arsenal into this game, I think we beat Birmingham.
Yep.
But in terms of things I'd change, I think the only thing I'd change would be having a 20-minute spell where we pass out from the back, because I don't think that works. I'd go direct against Birmingham. And I think if we win this game as well, this is an important aspect as well. We've had a good performance against Arsenal. If we win this game against Birmingham, people may actually want to come to watch the Tottenham game as well.
Absolutely.
So it could really have a great impact on attendances on a commercial reason for Tottenham.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think there's two things that we need to really hammer home, if you pardon the pun. One being that we need to treat Birmingham like we treat Arsenal. We cannot look at Birmingham as a gimme, because I know they've had their problems when it's come to like staffing and players, and they've had a massive turnaround. They've been like Liverpool last year, where they've had a mass exodus, but we cannot look at that as a sign of weakness. We need to go into that game as we did with the Arsenal game, especially how we played in the second half, because we all know the damage Brie can do, because she did it for us last season. And they've still got Lucy Staniforth, they've still got Rach Williams, they've still got Keris Harrop. They've still got these players, so we can't go in thinking it's going to be a walkover, because it's not. They are going to come for us hard. And second of all, like you said, we can't go playing out from the back, because that is where we score up. That is when people are coming racing forward, you've got to just boot the ball out and deal with the incoming throw-in.
So the thing is, as well with Birmingham, is with Brie, she does press a lot as well. So she'd typically be like the Arsenal midfielders on Sunday. So if we do play it from the back, you've got a player there that's going to punish you.
Yep, absolutely. So, in regards to squad, would you change the squad much? Would you keep them but change formation? Or do you think we should go in as we did in Arsenal?
It depends really, because Simon came off with a knock, so I'm not sure how she is. But if she's okay, I think I'd go with more of the same. One thing I've listed to mention, but I haven't mentioned yet actually, is Vetterlane and Flaherty. That really worked. I was surprised that they put them to. Matt put them to at centre back, but that was really strong on Sunday.
Yeah, I have to say, you were really impressed with Courtney. I was really impressed with Vetterlane, because she did not give in anything. It's quite funny because you watch her in like the promo videos, and she's very sweet and very quiet and very sort of like, oh, I can't believe I'm playing in the English league. And then you get her on that pitch and she is fiery. She will not, argue. She argues with the ref. She was arguing with the Arsenal players. She will not take anything. So having her and Gilly, who are both quite at it, it was quite an interesting pairing. And you're right, it worked surprisingly well. If Erin is out, we do always have Brooke, who is a player that's coming forwards. And I would like to see how those three work, how Gilly, Brooke, and Vetterlane work, because I think that could be quite an interesting back three.
Well, with the back three, as long as we don't play out from the back, which we've said a lot tonight, I think that could work. And I was about to say to you, actually, I think we could go for a back three against Birmingham.
Yeah, no, absolutely, because they've definitely, like I said, they have lost a lot of players, and we can use that as an advantage because their top scorer is no longer with them anymore. They've moved on, so it will be interesting to see how Birmingham do, but we cannot discount Birmingham because, like you said, they lost to Everton on an own goal, which I think is definitely going to spur them on. Score prediction. Do you have a score prediction for what we're going to do against Birmingham?
So before I go into my score prediction, an interesting point about not underestimating Birmingham. I think we can't do that because ultimately, even though Birmingham have had all these changes, they still finished above us in the league last year.
Yeah.
So that's something we have to take into account. But I think we'll beat Birmingham. I think it will be. I'm going to go with 3-1. I think Birmingham have got too many players adjusting to a new system. I think we look like we're quite settled. And I think we've got more ruthless players this year, and as you've just stated, leaders. And I think that'll be the difference on the pitch on Sunday. Yeah,
no, so that was actually my point that flew out of my head, is the fact that what we need to take advantage of with Birmingham is they are pretty much a brand new squad. They have very few players that were there last year that are there this year. We still have our core and we've built upon that. So we need to take advantage of that and exploit their weaknesses where they haven't gelled as a team yet. We didn't do that last year with Liverpool because we were still that team. So hopefully we can do it this year with Birmingham and grab 3 points. I think you're right. I think it's going to be a high scoring on ours. I think Martha's on a streak. So I'm going to say similar. I'm going to say 3-1 because West Ham can never keep a clean sheet. So it's not the West Ham way.
Any West Ham supporter will either go, typically, if we're playing a team that we're expected to be, it will normally always be 3-1, 2-1, or 3-2, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, because we're going to go 1 goal down before we.
Yeah. I mean, we'll probably
between Gilly and Brooke, and it will go over Courtney's head.
It will probably, I was about to say that. It'll probably be a defensive mistake and Lazardi will score. And then.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be the one that scores.
Yeah.
To get her own back. Though we do love you, Bree, still. You are still one of our favourites. So, we've talked about her a lot, and I know she's becoming one of your favourites, so we're going to do a bit of a spotlight on Courtney. So, I'm going to let you take this one because she's definitely become your favourite, and I'll take the next one.
As Ali stated, Courtney is becoming my favourite West Ham player right now. What I like about Courtney is she commands her box and she has every aspect of the game covered. She can play out from the back well. She can punt the ball well. She also has a good throw on her that boosts his counter-attacks. And she's a commander. So all them things together, when you put them together, obviously bring a really good goalkeeper out. But another thing that's important to note is, as a goalkeeper, you're under immense pressure through pre-season to get used to your new teammates, and she's dealt with that comfortably. So for me, she's already showed leadership, and she's also showed she's adjustable to any system. So that's what I like about Courtney so far. And also on Twitter, another thing that I really liked, I think she put something out this week about mental health awareness.
She did.
So that's really good to see that not only a player cares on the pitch, she also cares off the pitch and about everybody. And she's a people's player, really.
Do you think the fact that she hasn't played in the league before is a benefit rather than a hindrance? Because I know for a fact, having watched Ellie Roebuck over at Man City, when she first started, she seemed to be in awe of players like Steph, Jill, the more established players, and she wasn't very good at commanding them. So she would be very quiet and she'd sort of let Steph get away with a lot of things. Whereas Courtney, I don't think, has that fan worship of players like Gilly like Kate, players that have been in the league for a long time. Do you think that is a benefit that she doesn't have that because she hasn't played in our league before?
Yes and no. I think yes, because she's not under any pressure because she hasn't had that run of performances in the league. But I think the important thing with Courtney is she's not a young keeper that came in with no experience at former clubs. She played a lot, from my understanding, at Le Havre, and she has a lot of chemistry with the player up top, Martha Thomas. So she was easily able to settle in. But I think the question that you've asked me about, is the league, her not playing in the league, a hindrance? I think it's too early to tell right now. We'll see after 5 games.
Okay, so would you put Courtney in over Anna on Sunday?
You know my answer, of course.
Okay, different question. Do you think Matt will put Courtney in over Anna on Sunday?
Well, if he don't, he'll probably have me being annoyed at him. But but yeah, I do. I think Matt will, because I think Matt starting her against Arsenal shows a lot of trust in her already. So I think after that performance as well, she's done herself nothing but justice to start against Birmingham, and I think Matt's probably going to play her if she performs like that against Arsenal every game, except from cup competitions this year.
Oh wow! Okay, that is high praise indeed. Okay, I know this is a West Ham podcast, but we're going to do a very quick rundown of the games that already happened this weekend. The one that everybody's been talking about, though I'm kind of bored of talking about it, is the Manchester Derby. They keep calling it the first, but it's only the first in FA WSL era. Man United and Man City have played each other before all this. It was a 1-0. I didn't watch it. I had other things to do. I was at Alton Towers. But from the people that I do know that were there and did watch it, Man City were kind of lucky, and Man United played better than people thought they were going to play. Did you catch any of the Derby game, or?
I watched. I think when I got home from work on Saturday night, I watched the first 35 minutes, and I thought Man City were quite lucky going in at half time to be 1-0 up. But it's hard to tell the first day of the season on these performances, really. So for me, if I was a Manchester City fan, I'd take it with a pinch of salt, because the way the fans are probably taking is, we played poor against Manchester United, which are expected to get top 4, but we still won 1-0. So that says a lot about Manchester City more than it does Manchester United for me.
I think the biggest thing that people need to realise when it comes to Man United is, yes, they have just been promoted, but they were the only professional team in a non-professional league. So it's not unexpected to get these performances out of them.
Last year, all these Man United players that looked a real talent for me against Man City, apart from the established FAWSL players, the step up makes them look ordinary to me. I think, for me, I was thinking this going home. I think our game against Manchester United, I'm confident in beating them, and that says a lot.
We better do. I live up in Manchester. We got to beat all of the Manchesters.
Well, especially Emma. She had an argument with Manchester United on Twitter, so I think everybody's going to be raving for that game.
So that's going to be a huge thing. The other derby, which was the same day as ours, which was Chelsea Spurs, that ended up in a 1-0 victory for Chelsea. Again, a very similar thing. People were saying to me that Chelsea were lucky that they won that game. It was a wonder strike by Beth England very quickly, and then Tottenham adapted to losing quite quickly, and they were unlucky not to take anything from that as well. So I think the big thing this weekend is going to be that just because a team has just been promoted, that they shouldn't be written off, because Tottenham, they looked a bit shaky when we played them, so maybe they've sort of gelled a bit more, but we shall see, because I wasn't convinced when we played them.
See, there's two ways you can take a first day of the season performance. As a new side, I think more with Tottenham, they're not expected to do anything really this season in terms of competing up the higher end of the league. So they was playing Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. So is this a team that are going to surprise anybody, or is this a Tottenham side that have played at Stamford Bridge against their main rivals and have found an extra 10%? Only time will tell.
Yeah. But speaking of finding the extra 10%, because it got announced today that the 16th and the 17th of November is going to be Women's Football Weekend. They've managed to time it on the international break for the men's, and there's going to be more games, hopefully in bigger stadiums. We play Man City that weekend away, which I'm grateful for, because that is only around the corner for me.
I'm not, because I can't get there.
Hopefully we'll get upgraded and we'll be playing in the big Etihad for that weekend.
Yeah.
But other teams have already announced that they will be moving their games to the bigger stadiums, their men's home stadiums. So, Reece, what do you think that's going to do for the profile of the women's game?
So I was going to mention this on my Chelsea report, but I forgot. One thing that I noticed going on to the train was there was a lot of Chelsea supporters while I was travelling to North London. And looking at that as a women's football fan, it kind of gave me a buzz to say I was very apprehensive about putting the women's team in the men's stadium, because for me, I thought it was one step too many at the time. But I was proven wrong. I think 31,000 in attendance for the Manchester derby. That's a great crowd. By what I heard on the TV, they created a lot of atmosphere. So did Chelsea. But like I said, as a women's football fan, seeing that a lot of Chelsea fans were on the train, I think that's something to tell for the future, that this sport is going to be very big. But I think the Women's Football Days times very well, because you've got a Merseyside derby and a North London derby, which I think one will be on BT and one will be on BBC.
Yeah.
So I think it kind of gives more of a professional feel, because you get that Super Sunday aspect on the telly. The teams are playing at the stadium, and the attendances are boosting, and it looks good in figures for players that are playing in maybe more established leagues right now, like the NWSL, and it could attract some of them over, because we can go, look, we're starting to play at our men's stadiums, which is important.
No, absolutely. One of the things that was interesting for me is, if you look at the difference between the two games, Manchester City charged for their game, not that much, but there was a ticket fee, and they got 30,000. Chelsea gave theirs for free, and they only got 21,000, which again is a huge number. But do you think that we should always charge for women's games because it gives it that bit more legitimacy? Because if it's free, people can go. If the kids are playing up, they just don't fancy it anymore, then they've not lost anything. Whereas if people are paid, they've got a bit more purchase towards it.
Well, another thing as well is, when people pay, is that the Etihad Stadium is going to get a lot of publicity, or Stamford Bridge. The difference between them two games on a financial aspect is Manchester City women have probably trebled on that game their income this season that they can put towards the future of their women's team, and Chelsea, instead from maybe food takings or bar takings, if they took any of that, haven't made a penny.
Okay, very interesting. Now, the final thing, it's a little bit of fun, is we're going to talk about what levels of devotion you would go to, not just for the women's team, but for your club as a whole? Because I know for a fact that there are certain fans that, they travel up and down the country to go home and away. They've got countless signatures by players. They've had them tattooed on. So, Reese, I'm asking you, what levels of devotion would you go to West Ham women?
So I've got a story with the men's team which would explain the devotion I take to go to the women's team now, because I'm more interested in the women's team now, because I'm more interested in women's football. So the 2012 playoff semi-final against Cardiff.
Oh yeah.
I think we was away at whatever their stadium's called. I can't even remember now. And I went to that match in Cardiff, and it was a school night. So we travelled up there, me and my aunt, and the same night, because I had school in the morning, I got back at 5 o'clock in the morning the next day, and I was in school for 7. I think that says a lot about the
utter devotion. I can't say that I've not done something similar for the women coming back from a midweek game. However, I have to say my devotion is slightly more permanent in the fact that for anybody who doesn't know, and if you follow me on Twitter, you'll see it, is I've just got myself some new ink, and I have a sleeve, and it's mainly dedicated to my East London roots, and it's about, because I've lived up here.
I've ordered a Courtney Brosnan tattoo to on my arm.
Oh, you're going to get the Courtney Brosnan? Okay, trying to outdo me. That's fine. So yeah, so it's mainly about my East London roots, but I have 4 postcodes tattooed around this sleeve. 3 are to do with family members and myself. However, right on my bicep, I do have RM7, which is the postcode for Rush Green, because I spend most of my free time at Rush Green. So, little bits. But that's a good thing for our viewers. Like, comment on this video. What is the utmost devotion that you have done for West Ham? Have you travelled the thousands of miles, like Reese, and get back at 5 a.m. and still made your way back to school? I forget how young you are, Reese. It confuses me sometimes. I think you put on Twitter last year, like, oh, it's only been a year since. Was it GCSE or A-level results?
I think it was GCSEs.
Oh,
it was only a year ago. I'm too young.
You are far too young. So, any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Not really. I'm just really excited for Sunday. I want the same performance, but turning that into 3 points. But another thing that I want to mention as well is I think another good thing about women's football being played at men's stadium is it could attract video games, because right now PES has came out this week, which is my favourite game.
Oh yeah.
And one thing that highly frustrates me is that I can't go on to that game and have a West Ham women's career mode, because I'd be on it all the time.
Yeah,
so
me
I think maybe playing at these stadiums will attract these commercial companies, because I think as well with a game like my favourite game, PES, is if they right now they're second behind FIFA in rankings, which is, everybody must know, it's another video game. But I think if they paid some money for the FAWSL licenses, I don't think these game companies realise it would attract a lot of fans to that game, because it would be the only game right now where you could have a women's and men's career mode.
Yeah, definitely. Because I know I don't know if I haven't played FIFA in a very long time. I know they play, I think it's 16 that you could play in the World Cup mode.
Yeah, but the thing with this the international thing is with FIFA, and this is why I don't buy it, because the only reason I'd buy FIFA is because it had women's football on it that year, which PES didn't have. The thing is with that, I think it was on the 2015 World Cup in Canada, but you couldn't actually play a tournament, and they did it with they did the same thing with Lyon. You couldn't play the World Cup tournament. I didn't want after a few games, I didn't really want to play it because all you could do is play the final in Lyon. You couldn't actually have, like I said, that career aspect of it.
Well, I think that just about wraps it up for this week. We will be back at the same time next week. Hopefully, it'll be on time. It's my fault, technical issues. Where we will run through the Birmingham game. We will talk about the upcoming Tottenham derby that is going to be played at the London.
Don't forget the Chelsea Conti Cup game on the 22nd.
I'm not going to. But yeah, we have the Chelsea Conti Cup game. We have so much going on. So thank you all for.
Ali, did you say you're not going to the Chelsea game?
I know. My other half has booked us a weekend away in Edinburgh before they release the fixtures. So I'm being a devoted girlfriend rather than football. It's the only one match I'm missing this year. I've made sure that I've got all my other fixtures booked on.
Well, I thought I heard something when you said you wasn't going to the Chelsea match, so I had to make sure.
So that's all from us this week, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah, thanks guys for watching, and we'll see you next week for another nutty roundup of West Ham women.
Bye guys.